All right, and we're live.
Hey, we are live. Oh, it looks like Dimitri's in the chat. Hey, Jeff McKinney. Dimitri, are you still there, or did you just jump in real quick?
Or was it? Yeah, or was just hanging out from last week?
Are you there just to yell at me?
It's not sticking around. He's driving 2 hours, and he's got a court appearance. I guess he's in trouble. No, Dimitri's a lawyer, but just wanted to say hi, Dimitri. Hey, we effed up. We were hanging out with you that whole show, and then we forgot to talk about you in the after party. So don't trip. We'll talk shit about you in the after party tonight. Dimitri, we love you so much, man. Sorry, brain fart.
Yeah, man.
I blame John.
It was all my fault. We were a little tore up by that point, and
little.
Jeff McKinney, how are you? Hope you're well. All right. John, let me bring this up. John, give me a mic check.
Mic check. 1, 2, 3. Mic check. Mic check.
All right. So I need to, and Solomon.
Salad. Harvest. Salad.
A little slap back from Solomon.
And from John. Now it's fixed, I think.
All right. John, give me another.
Hello. Check, check, check. 1, 2, 3.
Jeff.
Hello, hello.
All right. They're all as fucked up as normal, so I'll get it in post like I do. All right. All right. That's recording. I think we're good. If you guys are good. Yeah.
Salad. Harvest. Salad.
Here we go. Put your dishes down or mute your mic, Jeff.
I'm Katrina Benson from Fossil Brewing, and you are listening to the We Like Drinking podcast, where you never drink alone.
At the sound of the tone, the official We Like Drinking time will be 5 o'clock. Commence consumption.
Yeah, that works. That's a good start. Hey, Solomon, while I'm playing the intro, do you want to finish up the intro on the show notes? Awesome, thanks.
I'm unmuting, Dick. I don't know how quick I am. Let me try this.
That's why you're under the pressure. Here we go.
Okay.
I'm Katrina Benson from Fossil Brewing, and you are listening to the We Like Drinking podcast, where you never drink alone.
At the sound of the tone, the official We Like Drinking time will be 5 o'clock. Commence consumption.
Thank you for joining us for the award-winning We Like Drinking podcast, episode 201. In this episode, we'll be discussing the WLD effect. And I hope you can roll your R's because it's time for Tempranillo. So crack open your beer, uncork that wine, and let's get drinking. All right, my little drinkers out there in the podcast.
John, should we tell him?
What?
Should we tell him number one? Why should they be practicing rolling their R's when you can't, Jeff?
Oh,
but then the other thing is, Tempranillo does not have a double R, so you don't roll it.
Oh, there you go. Good point. Can you roll your R's, Jeff?
No. I mean, I can roll them like any kid that went to high school in California, you know.
What are we talking about?
So if I'm talking about a dog, I'm talking about a perro. That's it. That's all I got. It's more of a gargle than a roll.
I grew up in the 70s. We didn't roll R's.
We didn't roll ours neither. We got out a pipe, and I mean, Dimitri says we wouldn't last a day in Russia.
So cheers, my podcast drinking fans, and welcome to Happy Hour 201 of the only two-time award-winning topical beer and education podcast focusing on
Fun.
fun. That's right.
N.
I
N.
All the visuals.
all the visuals. John
That's
is
all for Jeff McKinney. No one else watches.
so folks, if you like the chaos that you've heard so far is basically what's going to happen for the next hour. I mean, this is essentially our brand.
It'll get worse.
If you like what you're hearing, considering to become a Patreon so that we can forget about you 10 seconds after we talk to you half the time, by visiting welikedrinking.com/pledge to find out how you can get on this love, because it's just a love fest over here.
Can I try this a different way? Quit being a fucking freeloader and give us some money. You can't pay 20 cents an episode. Seriously.
Come on, really. You all have that jar in the laundry room that's full of stuff. Just take it to the grocery store, put it in the machine, have them rake you over the coals for 13.6% on a take on that. But whatever's left, you can give it to us.
Or sign up for Initiative Q. Get all the Qs, and then in 30 years you might be able to pay us back. All right.
We will accept the cues as payment, I think. All right, so it is time for our monthly drinking episode. We're very excited about that. We took it to the Patreons because Facebook doesn't allow us to have polls where people can add their own choices to the polls anymore. So polls on Facebook suck now. So the wine of the month this month, it's Tempranillo. I'm super excited about that. We've kind of visited a couple times. We've done Spanish wines before, so we'll be revisiting some things, but we'll probably be going a little bit deeper on them, which I'm sure you're excited about, and I am, because we get to drink the Tempranillo. So first, gentlemen, let's specifically find out what it is we're drinking. We'll start with you, Jeff Solomon.
Hey, I'm drinking something that you probably don't remember the name of it, but you probably remember the label and the bottle. I'm drinking a Rioja. It's a Reserva Rioja from 2011. I'm saying you'll recognize it because it's very like old world in terms of the label. If you didn't see all the Spanish words, you might mistake it for a Bordeaux. And then also, it's just got the awesome like gold fishnets that just makes it just a little bit more sexy. I did kind of have a question for any Psalms or any, folks much more educated than us when it comes to wine service. Is there a proper way of dealing with the netting? Like, do you like to keep it on and cut around it? Or what I did was I kind of like poked the neck through a hole on the side and then twisted it around so it stuck. I'm wondering about that. But anyways, this is the 2011 Herederos del Marqués de Riscal Rioja Reserva from 2011. So yeah, I'm excited about this one right here.
Excellent. John, what are you drinking?
Well, just to go back to Solomon's point, when he posted a picture, because we were, we talk about what we're drinking, so we don't double up on stuff. I'm like, why has he got a French wine when we're drinking Tempranillo? And then I looked at the words, but that label looks extraordinarily French.
It does.
Stylistically, anyway. So you guys, I asked, and you guys said you're going to stick with Spain, and I know that here in New Mexico, there are some phenomenal Tempranillos made, very velvety, soft Tempranillos with the climate here. However, I drank the Vivac Tempranillo months ago. The Casa Abril Tempranillo was a little bit too far to drive, and they're only open Thursday through Sunday for me to get to it. And who makes another one? Luna Rosa makes a nice Tempranillo, but didn't have any luck. So I asked Solomon, where should I look for a California Tempranillo? He said, well, try Sierra Foothills. Central Coast, and I ended up with this Saint Amit Tempranillo. Their Saint Amit is located in Lodi. However, the grapes are grown at their estate vineyard in Amador County.
Awesome.
So that's what I have today. And I poured a tasting glass, and the aroma is just filling the room.
Very cool. And for those of y'all that don't know much about Amador County, is just a great place to go in California to get more of like an old school wine tasting feel. Most of the places you can taste for free, which is pretty rare for a pretty hopping region in California, but also super cold in the winters and then just massive diurnal shifts during the summer. Like that's a awesome place.
So I think it's similar to northern Spain, where Tempranillo is grown, and the success that vineyards and wineries are having here in New Mexico is cold winters and hot summers.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Yeah, man. So Jeff, on the gold foil, do you know why that gold foil is there?
Because it's hot. It makes you feel very amorous.
I'm thinking like I want that, and I'm going to use it for a Halloween costume.
Yeah, no, you save up enough, and if you've got a grapevine in your backyard, you throw the netting over the top.
Oh, there you
when you get close to harvest, it doesn't really keep the birds out of it per se, but every once in a while a bird will get trapped in it, so that's always fun.
That's always fun. Get
that. To make some soup.
Yeah. Yeah. What do they call it in a fancy restaurant? It's squab.
Okay. The foil, historically, it was a counterfeiting protection that they would put on the bottles to prevent kind of like the corks would have the names on the corks. This was another measure to prevent counterfeiting, to prevent, that the wine had not been opened previously. So,
I like that. I thought it was more of like a security thing. Like, how can I open this bottle with these gigantic gaping holes in the net? No. Okay.
We do have a second viewer. Hopefully, if the second viewer wants to chime in and let us know you're there, we'd love to hear from you.
Hey, viewer.
I am going with this Ito Tempranillo. This is a 2016 from the Ribera del Duero. This is the Cepa 21 Bodega. So a Tempranillo from a different region, but sticking to Spain, because I thought that was important to do tonight. So I'm excited about this. We got Spain, 2 from Spain, 1 from Rioja, 1 from Ribera del Duero, and we've got California. Excited about that.
Yeah. And full disclosure, I've had a sample of that Ito before. And so it's been a while, so I don't remember a lot of my notes, but I am looking forward to seeing how you judge that Ito.
Very well done, Jeff. Right. I don't know what's happening with John, but okay. All right.
No, I was just fixing something in the notes.
Rotating his peas.
Before we get to the edumacation and the tasting, let's get a little learning on with grape hop or pop culture reference. So this is where I give these guys a term, and they try to tell me if it's a wine grape, beer hop, or some kind of pop culture reference. The term this week is sensible. So is sensible a wine grape, a beer hop, or a pop culture reference? I think we started with you last week, didn't we, John?
Maybe.
Yeah, it was episode 200. I mean, I kind of blacked out about 45 into it or so.
By about this point in the show, we are done.
So, we'll go with you this week, Jeff Sullivan.
How do you spell it?
Cencibel.
Sensible. It would be just like you, Jeff. I've heard this name before. I'm almost 100% certain that it is a grape. One of the things that I always think is fun is whenever we're doing like a tasting episode to look at synonyms for grapes. That's always fun for me. And I have to be honest here because I'm sitting next to Jancis Robinson's Oxford Companion to Wine, and I was just about to start looking. Is sensible a synonym for Tempranillo? That would be just like Jeff. I didn't look, and I just need to let you know that this is what I'm thinking. So I think that saying that it is a wine grape, that it is actually another name for Tempranillo, I think that would be sensible.
That'd be a little easy, but we'll see. John Ruyak, what do you think?
I think I've seen that as a grape as well, but
it might be Rhone. It might be one of the like Chateauneuf de Pape grapes.
I'm thinking is it one of those like weird heritage grapes from Chile.
I thought you were going to say type of heirloom tomato.
Fried green heirloom tomato.
All right. Very well done, gentlemen. You both got it right. It is a wine grape. And Jeff Solomon, you are 100% correct. It is a cinnamon. Cinnamon? It's a cinnamon.
I'm not getting any of that.
Funny thing, cinnamon is also a synonym for Tempranillo.
It is generally sensible. It's used in more central and southern Spain, especially in the La Mancha region.
There's some men in La Mancha.
Sensible. All right, well done, Jeff.
Yeah, hey, thanks. It's been a while.
It has been a while. All right, so let's get into our Tempranillos. John.
Yes.
Do you have any questions before we get started, or do you just want us to get right into what we've got prepared?
No, not really. I mean, Tempranillo is a varietal that I generally enjoy drinking. It's a lot softer to me than a lot of other red wines, so I dig it. So I don't really have any questions.
Okay. You're pretty familiar with it, though. Yeah, it's pretty popular at the Ruyak household.
Yes, it is.
All right, Jeff. Why don't you take us out?
Yeah. So I was mentioning, we were all talking before the episode, like how often, like, we start breaking out all these reference books and everything. And so I've got my Oxford Companion to Wine. I've got my Wine Folly here as well. I have to tell you, like, personally for me, I remember when I first started to like branch out into Rioja, which is probably the most famous Tempranillo wines that you're going to get out of Spain. When I first started branching out into it, it was really just like I wanted to try something different. If you're a traditional red drinker that sticks mainly to those like Bordeaux varieties, which are so popular in California, which is so popular in the United States. If you just want to expand your horizons a little bit, if you are into cabs, but you just want something different, I really think Tempranillo is a great place to jump off into. The thing that's always been really appealing to me is from a price perspective, you can go to Spain in most any grocery store, and you're going to find some great archetypal examples of Tempranillo. So you're going to get to know that grape pretty well. It's not really a grape that, in terms of like the Spanish interpretations of it, you're not really going to be fearful of like some bastardized version of Tempranillo. And I also have to say, like, a lot of the places in California where it actually might be more expensive for you when you're searching those out, just because it's usually like smaller wineries that are doing it. A lot of them are really staying true to the grape, but just in like a California climate. The tasting note for me that always sticks out for me with Tempranillo is there's always some sort of like herbal, like menthol type of thing happening. So like if you're really into like smoking cool cigarettes, this might kind of take you back to that place as well. That's just my overall like general impressions of Tempranillo. If you like Cabernet, but you also like to smoke cool cigarettes, this is it. I'm not playing. Some of you are gonna have memories to junior high if you haven't had a Tempranillo in a while.
Okay. All right. Okay. So is that what you got for us today?
That's basically it. I mean, I could tell. So obviously,
you're good. That's what you got. That's what you got.
I would say that it's difficult to talk about Tempranillo without talking about Rioja. And so I'm always going to kind of bring us back to that. Typically, when you're looking at Rioja, if all it says on the label is Rioja, you're going to expect that it's something that's very young, hasn't seen a whole lot of oak, hasn't seen a whole lot of bottle age. And then you start seeing those other tiers of Crianza and Reserva and Gran Reserva. And those, I remember one time, like Kara and I, when we were first really getting into wine, we would take advantage of the weekend 1 cent, or maybe it was like 5 cent wine tastings at Bevmo. And I remember this dude pouring us, they had a bunch of different Riojas, and he's pouring them, and he was talking about Crianza and Reserva as being different grapes. And I'm like, wow, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So just when you're thinking about it, and Jeff, I'm going off the top of my head. So if I'm wrong, let me know here.
Okay.
When you talk about Crianza, what you're talking about is it's a minimum of 12 months in oak and 1 year of age.
So if you're talking Rioja,
yeah. Okay. And then also in Rioja for Reserva, it's going to be aged for 3 years, and at least one of those years was in oak. If you're talking about Gran Reserva, you're talking about it has to be aged for, it's either 4 or 5 years. 5 years, and 2 of them have to be in oak. So really what you're talking about, it might not necessarily, by the way, speak to the actual quality of the wine, but it's going to give you a good impression in terms of, and most of those bodegas are going to have entries into those different tiers just to show you those things. So typically when you buy a Rioja, what's kind of fun is that you're buying something that here I am, the most recent vintage that I could get of this Herederos del Marqués de Riscal Reserva is a 2011. So it's kind of neat to see that these are things that are typically released at the not the crescendo, but we're getting pretty close in terms of like when they really want you to enjoy these things. So you don't have to be so fearful about opening something up right away. You don't have to lay it down. Not that it wouldn't hurt to lay it down sometimes too.
Yeah.
That's what I got just in general. I'm actually really looking forward to tasting through these and just getting cool. You know what I'm saying?
God. You're in a special place tonight, Jeff Solomon. I like it. So as we kind of mentioned too, when you're talking about Tempranillo, you're really talking about Spain. That is the primary place that the grape is coming from. Also Portugal. They're probably number 1 and number 2. In Portugal, it's generally called Tinta Roriz or Roriz. In the north, and Aragonese in the south of Portugal, depending on which one you're buying it from. You can also find it in Argentina, France, Australia, and somewhat in the US. Pretty much after Australia is just kind of like else. Now, you may think that Tempranillo is the most planted grape in Spain, but it is not. It is the most planted red, but it is actually the second most commonly planted grape in Spain, behind Arién, which is a wine that generally you don't see in bottle for wine consumption. It's more of a bulk wine that goes out for brandy, to be made that way. You can occasionally find a bottle of Arién. They're trying to, bring it to that level, but for the most part, it's just a bulk grape that goes into other.
Yeah, a lot of those wineries are Arién on the side of caution.
Right? Yeah. So now in Spain, your most of the wines are going to be labeled by region, like Jeff was saying. Your Riojas, your Ribera de Dueros, your Castilla y Leones, your Toros, but you are starting to see more, like the one I have tonight is labeled Tempranillo. You're starting to see it more of that made for the American consumer, where they are putting the grape on there. Rioja is in the La Rioja region. Ribera del Duero, Giglias, Toro, they are all in the Castilla y León region. Now, Jeff was mentioning the Crianza, the Reserva, the Gran Reserva. The Crianzas in Spain, in general, are 6 to 12 months of oak. Rioja raises their bar a little bit and says a minimum of 12 months.
That's kind of like what I do on this show.
You can also see Tinto or Joven, and that's, they put it in the bottle and they ship it out. It's little to no oak, no minimum of aging. It's right out. That is going to be the freshest, if you will. And then Jeff spoke to how most bodegas will have one of each type. That is true. The Grand Reserva, though, maybe not something that they produce every year. They do typically wait for better vintages to do those, but that's not a guarantee. There may be people that are like, nope, we're going to make a Grand Reserva every year. Other than that, I think Jeff really hit on those very well, especially the part that it's really not a symbol of quality as much as it is a symbol of what to expect in the flavor profile of the wine.
Certainly. And I do think it's fair to expect, especially, if you're talking about relative to that particular winery, obviously you're going to see those price points fluctuate based on those labels. By the way, so this Reserva right here is, I got it for $21. Mm-hmm. I was, and it's funny, you look around and you might also see, I saw Gran Reserva somewhere for 11, and that kind of scared me a little bit. Yeah. I don't want an $11 Gran Reserva. I don't need an $11 Gran Reserva.
A place that can store something for 6 years and only charge $11.
Yeah. That's like when you go to Trader Joe's and they've got a Barolo for $13. You're like, I'm good.
I'm gonna not get that.
So the other fun thing about Tempranillo for me is this is a wine that really changes with age and with oak. Like it's drastically changed by winemaking. So when you're looking at a Crianza, a wine, you're going to expect a lot more fruit to be coming out of it. You're going to be getting cherry components, strawberry, fig, some herbal notes, bit of spice. When you're looking at a Reserva, like what Jeff Solomon has tonight, those fruits kind of go from cherry and strawberry to more blackberry and blueberry. And you'll start to see those oak notes coming through, baking spices, tobacco, vanilla. When you get into the Grand Reservas, things are changing even more. Now you're looking at raisins and dried blueberries and the leather and cigar box and cedar and cinnamon that we talked about earlier. So you can really, with this grape and with the labeling that Spain has come up with, you really know what to expect in the wines that you're picking out. And so I think that's a fun thing with these wines. As far as what you get out of a Tempranillo, this is a fairly tannic wine, a fairly high acidity, good alcohol to it. And a lot of ways, the fruit generally takes a little bit more of a backseat to the structure of the wine, which was why it allows for such work to be done with it in the winemaker's hands, if you will. Let's see if there's anything else. I think that's about all I really wanted to touch on. John, is there anything that came out of that you had questions about, or is everybody just
no, that's cool. I mean, I'm making some observations with the wine in the glass that I want to delve back into some other things that other wines we've talked about in the past.
All right, excellent. Well, we could go on more, but I say, yeah, I remember the tasting episodes when I would wait until my turn before I tasted the wine. Yeah, like before I even opened the show, I was already pouring glasses of this one.
You guys, I've been waiting.
Excellent.
Yeah, me too. I've been good. There's a pile of drool on my desk.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go with John then to start things off.
Okay, so just looking at this is pretty. I know this. I won't not say black, but this is dark red.
Mm-hmm.
So, but one of the things is what was that other wine that one of the markers was that ruby ring? Was that Malbec?
Mm-hmm.
Malbec. I thought so. And I get a very distinct ruby ring on this one. So, I mean, you could get, if you were doing a blind tasting, you might think, oh, I see that ruby ring. That's got to be a Malbec. Well, it could be a California Tempranillo.
And I'm sorry, John, what year was yours?
2016. So I'm guessing this would be in the Reserva type of category.
Or this would be a Crianza.
Crianza then maybe.
Mm-hmm. I think like if you were comparing this to a Malbec, the Malbec might actually almost be like a little bit more pink around the edges.
But this maybe pink. This is closer to ruby. Or so.
Yep, I feel you though.
It's kind of looks like sangre.
Yeah, it's definitely got some presence on the side of the glass when I swirl it. Am I smelling and then tasting?
Yeah, man, go for it.
I'm getting a little bit of that. Not quite menthol. And when this is funny though. When Solomon mentioned menthol and cool cigarettes. But my father-in-law, God bless him, he passed away about 10 years ago. And one of my favorite pictures of him we have here at the house, and it's him sitting at the VFW next to a dude dressed up as Santa Claus, and the Santa Claus is smoking a cigarette.
That's awesome.
It's the best. I laugh at that picture every time, and he's laughing at it too. Sharon's dad's laughing at it. I love that picture. But yeah, so a little bit of that menthol. I do get a little bit of spice. It doesn't quite reach that grippiness or that sharpness of cinnamon, but something akin to that. So maybe some muted cinnamon type of notes.
Is it like a general term that we can use sometimes is like baking spices?
Right. Yeah, and I remember you saying that just a few minutes ago, but yeah, kind of baking spices. Nothing in particular that you can pick out, but it's got a warmth to it.
Yeah, nutmeg, Chinese 5 spice.
Allspice.
Don't start giving me mental suggestions where I say yes.
Pack of Newports.
Ben Gay. No. No, but those are the bigger flavor component, or I mean aroma components, and I don't really get too much. Like then the dark fruits start to come after that.
Okay.
So and that's some heavy duty sniffing on my part. So okay, so
Taste it up, man.
let's
Go.
give this a go. And my mouth is watering, and you say it's acidic, so it's going to get worse. Mm. So on tasting, I really filled my mouth, and this is both acidic and somewhat dry. All of a sudden, the tannins are kind of fighting against the acidity, so the tannins want to dry my mouth out, but the acidity wants to keep things going. And when I had filled my mouth with that first taste, the fruit kind of raised up into the roof of my mouth. So let me just try that again real quick.
Jeff, did you just raise the roof on an audio podcast?
It just raised the roof for all our viewers.
Yeah.
So so the tannins are, it's not young cab type of firmness, but it's definitely a firmness on the tannins on that. And boy, the acidities is going. The fruit flavors that I was telling you about, I kind of get blueberry.
Okay.
A little bit. Ooh, there's some leather in that. And some of the baking spices seems the aroma is kind of integrated in that as well. I know I was looking at the card when I picked it up, and what they're telling us on the back of the bottle is it's a big, chewy, well-structured red with full round aromas of spice. There we go. Tobacco and dark fruits.
Huh?
A ripe mouth coating texture that provides a good lengthy finish. I'll agree with that. I didn't get much tobacco in my taste, but it's definitely the spice, and I got some blueberry-ish and dark fruit type of flavors out of that. So
awesome.
Whew. And again, I don't know if I mentioned on air, but this thing is packing a 15.5 ABV wallop.
Wow. Sessionable.
Not sessionable, obviously, but there is no heat to this. Even at 15.5, there is no heat to this wine.
Gulpable 15.5, just what you want.
Just what you need.
All right, Solomon.
Oh yeah, sorry. And I just wanted to. I know Dimitri has to run, so I was typing thanks, but I also want to say thank you, Dimitri. We're happy you were checking in. So yeah,
we're checking in, Dimitri, and we'll talk about you next.
We talk about you always, every day, all day. All right. So this is the Herederos del Marquez de Riscal Rioja Reserva 2011. Color-wise, I think we're all probably looking at about the same thing. It's quite opaque, and of course lightens up around the edges. I'm going to say that it is more of like a dried blood around the edges, and on the nose. Yeah, getting that tobacco. Kind of smells like, yeah, I'm not sure if it's cool or Newport or if it's like a DeJorum clove cigarette, but it's something. It's got like that tobacco leaf and then that like minty herbal menthol type of note there. That's so distinctive for me. Like that's my jam. Again, I just want to put on some roller skates now. Listen to one bourbon, one shard, one beer. Just get into it. Okay. Have you been listening to that lately with Val and Steph? Fantastic.
I listened to the first one, but not the second one yet.
This last one was all about songs that you would hear at the roller rink. It was amazing. Amaze balls. All right. And yeah, I am getting like some dark brambly fruits on the nose. I am getting like some dark cherries. I am getting some plum. I am getting some red currants on the nose, and then I am getting like a little bit. John was talking about on the palate, like some sort of like leather, and I'm getting like a fruit roll up. But do you remember like the natural fruit roll ups, the fruit leather? Like I'm getting like that, like a dark fruit leather on the nose.
Like almost like a stewed fruit, or maybe like a little candied stewed fruit kind of thing.
Most certainly, most definitely.
Yeah.
That's a very sensible explanation.
Oh,
That's interesting because when one of the first whiffs I took of it, I was like, that smells like candy.
mm-hmm.
On the palate.
That's a dangerous combination, by the way.
Yeah. This is definitely like a structure driven one. I am so glad that we're doing this episode because I think I've been conveying to a lot of folks recently, like I just haven't really been in the mood for red wine for a long time. Like I felt like, before spring even came, I was already in a white wine mood last season, and it's just been going for days. That being said, California, like no joke, I always used to like laugh at like whenever there was an earthquake around here, like people on the other side of the country would be like freaking out, like, oh, California fell off the map, and like it looks like chaos, and I'm like, we're good, it's okay. But I will say, like, California, like we're just engulfed in smoke right now. Like it is insane. So I just want to take a moment, it's just coming to me now as I'm talking about this, but like, if you can reach out in any way, and help out in any way, whether you're talking about the campfire in Northern California, whether you're talking about what's going on in Southern California right now, it's weird. A lot of times what you end up seeing is like, oh, this celebrity is affected. And it's like, I feel so bad for them. I feel bad for everybody, but believe me, it's a whole lot more than just famous people that you admire. Like there are entire cities that are just charred, and like nobody can really leave their houses right now. Like I don't even want my kids playing in the backyard right now. Like it's nuts.
My brother texted me that schools are closed in Sacramento tomorrow.
Yeah, my dad was saying he's not letting my dad lives close to Sacramento. He's not letting his dogs outside right now. Like it's bad. So just sorry, and help if you can, and please reach out.
Have you seen smoke there in Colorado? Because it's starting to filter into New Mexico. You can see it.
Is it really? I haven't anything out here, and this is it. This is like, I feel like the third year that we're talking about devastating forest fires.
Well, I swear to you, last year around this time, the fires in Napa and Sonoma, where it seemed like one was jumping over to another, and like that was nuts. It was like very widespread. And I was making these comments about like, here I am, 2-hour drive away from these places, and I'm seeing the smoke. But that was like one day that I had to deal with that. And then here I am, like we're recording this on a Wednesday. Since last Friday morning, I smell smoke all the time. And I live maybe 5 hours away from where those fires are. Like it's nuts. Sorry. Change of weather. Change of mood, just because the atmosphere like is just really like hazy and dark and everything right now for us. I think that's kind of gotten me more in like a red wine mood. And as I'm tasting this Rioja, which might have been like the first red wine that I've, I drink wine all the time, whatever, but the first red wine in a while where I've really just sat down to contemplate it. And I'm so excited by this. This is very much texturally body and earth driven wine right here. John's right on where there is this play between the acidity of some tart fruits along with those dark and stewed fruits, but also nice and grippy and tannic. Again, this has 7 years of age. So these tannins are so approachable and so beautiful, and they're so #smooth. I'm really excited about this. I want to go back in for another sip and talk to you about some more of this stuff too. Yeah. There's a nice play of tart red cherries and dark, deep black cherries as well. A lot of those stewed plums, getting some cassis as well as some red currants, and just this nice leathery component. And dare I say, there's some herbaceousness there, right? There is some tobacco. There is some of that minty menthol action. I'm getting a little cedar box. I'm gonna say it. I'm getting cedar box as well. So really, it's kind of like you took these stewed red and dark fruits and you threw them into like an old cedar cigar box and swished it around and then just dragged your tongue across the bottom of that box just to scrape it a little bit, and you enjoyed every GD moment of it. I would love this, no joke, with some Pompadoro al Cinghiale. I think that'd be delicious.
Yeah, I like right before the show, I was like, I really just want a plate full of tapas for this episode to just sit and just gorge myself on knacks while I'm tasting all these wines. But
some jamon would be.
I'm actually. Why'd you have to go there? No, I'm hungry.
You know what I'm eating right now? I'm eating barbecue chicken pizza, and it is superb.
That would actually be a really good pairing. Yeah.
Superb with this. And so like I might even suggest, I know that we are quite a ways away, but no joke, like we just missed Veterans Day. That's the last like really nice barbecuing holiday of the year. But 4th of July for your barbecue, do not overlook Tempranillo, specifically like an old world Rioja. I think you're going to be very stoked. This with like some ribs, some baby back ribs. I think that'd be awesome.
Do I have to tag Chili's now in this episode?
Chili's baby back ribs. Chili's baby back ribs. Barbecue sauce.
Well, now I do. All right. Can I continue drinking my drink now, Jeff?
Chili's is gonna take this off of Apple Podcasts now. Oh darn it!
Chili's is gonna become our first big sponsor. I can feel it.
It's gonna ruin our SEO with YouTube.
They're gonna want you to sing that every week. That's gonna be our new intro. Is the We Like Drinking podcast?
Chili's baby back ribs.
All right. So I'm drinking this Ito Ribeiro del Torero Tempranillo 2016. So you're looking at a Crianza type a wine with this one as well. And I specifically got this one for it's not Rioja because I knew Jeff was going Rioja, and I was going to go Reserva or Grand Reserva, but once I saw Jeff had a Reserva, I was like, okay, I'm going to go Crianza to get more of that fruit driven wine to offset what Solomon has, and because I still didn't know what John was doing at that point. So on the Ito, the nose on this one, the first thing I get is like a cherry. I get the fruit first. There's a little bit of that baking spice as well. I'm not getting any of those leathery notes. I'm not getting the cinnamon, the cedar box. I'm not getting any of that, which is expected because this is a younger, less oaked wine. I will say I do get a little bit of the heat which is surprising because this is only a 13.5. So I'm surprised by that. But the nose is pretty red fruit, a little bit of spice, and that's about it. It's pretty simple nose. The palate though, let me get one more, because after 15 you really need the 16th taste.
How would we know otherwise?
So this Ito is one of those wines that you walk into a party with this one and you are going to be a rock star. This has a lot of a play that a lot of people will enjoy. There's some good tannic structure to it when you're looking for it, but if you're just drinking it, you barely see the tannins. Like they aren't there really, really much. There's a really nice cherry component, sour cherry component on the palate right off the bat. There's a little bit of that baking spice coming in. No heat from the alcohol. It's almost like there's a little bit of a cola kind of thing to it. Now, I don't think there's like residual sugar in this. I'm not saying that there's a sugary component to it, but it's got that kind of like light, flavorful, festive kind of palate to it. It is gulpable. I think I'm halfway through the bottle already because it just goes down so smooth.
So is it fair to say it's like a cherry cola, or even like almost like a cherry root beer? Like, does it have a little like sassafras going on?
You know, way back in the day, you could get like cola flavored cough syrup.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the flavor. I get when you said that, it struck a note with me because I get a little bit of that in here too. And it's not cough syrupy, the taste you're getting, but it's that reminder of a cola flavor.
Mm-hmm. And when you say that cough drop thing, that's a good thing because there's a little bit of that menthol. I mean, it's not flavorful, but there's that kind of, there's that, you take a breath afterwards and it's like, that feels kind of good. That feels kind of cool, Jeff Solomon.
Yeah. Well, the alcohol is antimicrobial too, so you could brush your teeth with it if you wanted to. I was going to say, John, I mean, it wasn't that long ago that Jamarcus Russell got pulled over in Oakland, California with some of that cough syrup you were describing. Or maybe it was Sebastian Janikowski. Same difference.
Well, so if you brushed your teeth with this, then maybe you'd have what episode was that? Like episode 7?
Could have been. Everybody go download episode 7, get John Ruyak's reference. And if it still doesn't make sense, get the one before and the one after.
So let's bring it back, guys. That's not an after party.
What are we talking about?
So this is one of those wines. Like I said, this is a party wine because this will be a hit with a lot of different drinkers. So after I got this wine, I went and did a quick research to see what kind of ratings or reviews were out there, and this was very highly scored on the Vivinos, on the cellar trackers, on those kind of things. And now I see why, because this is a fan favorite kind of wine. So good job, Ito. Judge Ito. All right. Anything else, guys, on the Tempranillo before we move on?
When are we doing Tempranillo episode 2?
You know what was funny? I started searching up, I know that I had that as a sample before. So I'm like, let me see if I ever did anything about that on Stay Rad Wine Blog, see what my reviews were. But I was like really quick. So I just wrote Stay Rad and then I hit the Google search and there's a bunch of images of t-shirts that say Stay Rad. I think I'm going to sue. I'm the one co-opting that term from the 1980s. Don't you try to do it too.
If there's one thing the We Like Drinking podcast is known for, it's how well we stay on point. It really is. And with that, let's move it into Booze News, where we discuss interesting, noteworthy, or sometimes pretty stupid shit.
Well, aren't we going to pat ourselves on the back?
Yeah, we are. That's pretty much what this whole thing is about, is us patting ourselves on the back. So you may remember, I know people were texting me about it. People were tagging me in posts about it. I'm sure they were doing it to John and Jeff as well. But we talked about Aldi, the grocery store chain Aldi, and how they were having their wine advent calendar and their cheese ad. I know we all wanted the cheese, room temperature cheese advent calendar so bad, and how impressed we were with the Aldi customer support. So some people in Chicago, let's say, may have thought that we were really down on the wine advent calendar, but my thought was that we were big on the advent calendar, and then you should check it out. And apparently the listeners of the We Like Drinking podcast took that to heart, because when the wine advent calendar came out in Aldi, it sold out across the country in minutes. The day they went on sale, they were gone. And I mean, I think that's 100% because of the We Like Drinking podcast.
When's the royalty check rolling in?
Right. I mean, it doesn't have anything to do with it being featured in Time magazine or newspapers. It's
Pshaw.
nah.
It's look, like I was saying at the beginning of the show, like, don't say that we don't provide value. We are a value-driven podcast. We tip you off to all the cool shit. I know a lot of our listeners were like on waiting lists for the Aldi Advent calendar. So again, you can't give us 20 cents an episode. Like, what the fuck's your problem?
I mean, when people did get it, how quick were they to where did they post their pictures of the cheese advent calendar?
Oh, in the tavern.
That's right.
Every single one. All 100 bazillion of you.
Matthew Reed, he was like, the minute he got it home, took a picture of it. He was on the tavern, posted about the cheese, couldn't get the wine because it was already sold out. But that's just how the listeners of the We Like Drinking podcast.
We haven't heard from him since. Did they get food poisoning from the warm cheese?
Okay, I think he's all right.
Side note: did you see that Valerie Caruso got the beer advent?
She did at Costco. There's apparently a beer advent calendar that Val got, again, solely because the We Like Drinking podcast started talking about alcohol-driven advent calendars.
And specifically because there's a Rauch beer in there, John. There's a Rauch beer in that case.
Awesome.
So
awesome.
That's to trick Santa Claus into thinking you've got a chimney.
So if you are hearing about it again now and you're like, I really should get one of those advent calendars, too bad, so sad. They did one run of them and they're done. Hopefully next year they do more. Hopefully next year they take the Oprah / We Like Drinking / Gary Vaynerchuk effect into account before we talk about it. And to all our listeners, I mean, thank you so much for supporting the show and going out and waiting in line at Aldi to pick up your wine advent and cheese advent calendars.
And seriously, without Aldi, how else are you going to get 24 different unique examples of something? You know, I think the next. I don't know what to do. I want to enjoy December, but I can't get 24 of something.
I think the next thing is a bourbon advent calendar.
I think next year, I think we just need to break from Aldi and just have the official We Like Drinking advent calendar. You don't know what you're getting. You may get a wine, you may get a beer, you may get a spirit, you may get some
yoni.
Some smoked whale testicles in one of yours?
I mean, that's the 24th. I mean, there's no question. No
No, that's
way.
Christmas. That's got to be Christmas. Smoked whale testicles.
Mommy, Daddy, why does Santa have such a big sack?
The best part for listeners is when you do purchase next year the We Like Drinking Advent calendar, when you do finally get to the day where you open the smoked whale testicle day, you'll hear when you open that window.
Yeah, but there's also
Good.
microphone and like a little thumb drive in there to catch your reaction as you open it.
Okay.
When you go, "Ugh, I threw up in my mouth."
A little bit. All right.
A lot. And
All
I
right.
held it in for some reason.
All right. Well, this show has sufficiently gone off the rails enough that we are to the point where we get to luckily say, "Oh no, we don't. Hold on, where'd it go?"
We have a listener question.
Yeah, they're not in the notes anymore.
What are you
Yes,
talking
they
about?
are.
The listener question isn't in the notes. I got it. Would you like me to read it?
Yeah, man. Hold on a second. Because now we have to go to. That's not it, but go with it. Hold on.
Listener questions.
Here we go.
Pretty close.
That's the one.
Okay,
No,
so yeah,
it's not.
this was sent to me from an actual listener, no joke. Not really a drinking question, but I'm curious to know your thoughts. I heard that this week is the 25th anniversary of Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera joining the Mickey Mouse Club. Who's your favorite? And I might add to this, who's your favorite and which song would you pair with what beer or wine?
Oh.
Yeah.
Jeff Solomon.
Well, first of all, it cannot be denied that Christina Aguilera is the better singer.
Oh, there's no
And
doubt.
I will also say that Genie in a Bottle is a fantastic song. And I'm a huge fan of that, huge fan of Christina Aguilera. All that being said, I think that history is going to look back at these two performers in different ways, right? Christina will always be known for her voice, but her voice was not backed up with, really like a quality repertoire of songs. It's basically Genie in a Bottle, and it's beautiful, and that's it. That's it. And I shall not give her credit for Creole Marmalade. I won't do that. So what I will say is Britney Spears has the better portfolio. And I'm on record as saying this in the past. I will continue to say this. Hit Me Baby One More Time is one of the greatest songs ever written. It is. And if you doubt that, you need to just go back, listen to the lyrics, just listen to everything. You don't have to give her credit for it, but it's a fantastic song. That is the record of the century. So I'm going to go with Britney Spears. However, the song that I will choose is Toxic by Britney Spears. And I will include any hard liquor that comes in a plastic bottle.
Okay. John?
Okay, so I know nothing about the music of either one of these two, but other than the fact that I've heard Christina Aguilera's beautiful song, and yes, having heard both of them sing in a recorded fashion, would never go to see them live. Christina Aguilera has a much better voice.
You are beautiful.
It's yeah. But Britney Spears had that trashy Catholic schoolgirl vibe that was just kind of hot. So, yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Ew. Okay.
Wow. She was like 16 when she made that video, John.
Yeah, that's as far as I want to go with it. That's all. That's what I said. That's as far.
And you'd pair it with
What? What was that? What would I pair it with?
I think that's what
Oh my God, Utica Club Light or something. It's not, it's not, it's not something I give a lot of thought to.
So you're going with Britney Spears as well?
Yeah.
All right. I'll defer from the two of you. I'll go with Christina Aguilera. I'll go there, and I'll go with "Beautiful" because I do think that I think that is an amazing song. And I mean, I'm gonna pair it with some Tempranillo. I think.
Wow.
Yeah, I went deep there, huh?
Look at you bringing it full circle. That was so sensible.
Way to bring it back on track.
Classic.
I gotta try something. Okay. All right, Jeff Solomon. Lead us in, John Ruyek.
Yeah, of course you do it when I put it on mute so I can throw some pizza crust in my mouth. Here we go. Okay, so here's what you need to know. This is why it's getting exciting. This is why I love this. Main Jeff is in first place in the We Like Drinking Fantasy Football League with a record of 7-2-1. Did you win this last week, Jeff?
I did.
Okay.
Handily.
Second place is one John Ruyek of the Smoked Wheel Testicles at 7-3. Congratulations, John.
7 straight wins, isn't it, John?
7-game winning streak. Yes.
That's insane. And you even had one game where like you had 2 kickers and you refused to start either of them. Like it was weird. So here I am, sit on the outside looking in. I'm on the outside of this bubble in 8th place with a record of 5-5 after another loss. That is just it's unfair. It's not fair is what I'm trying to say, because I'm also sitting here and I'm looking at my point total on the season, and I'm 3rd in points. Everybody, no, 4th in points. You know who's 3rd in points? Jeff Eccles. You know how many more points he has than me? 3. And so here's the thing. We have 3 more weeks of our regular season before we get into the playoffs. I need to move up a few spots, and I would just love for everybody, when you get a chance, look at my 3 matchups coming up. Look at the projected outcomes. Well, shit, they haven't been true so far this year, but I got a feeling I am going to come into the playoffs hot. I'm going to take down this entire league. Ruyek, I hate to say this. There is a possibility that you lose out and you don't make the playoffs. So I want you to take a screen grab. I want you to blow it up. I want you to print it out. I want you to frame it. I want you to duct tape it to your refrigerator.
Because that's the best I'm going to be this season.
I will also send you a Xeroxed copy of my California Sustainable Wine Growing Ambassador certificate of authenticity, and you can put that next to it, because that's about. You're worthless is what I'm saying. I am going to take this league down. I do have to say also, Jeremy from Under the Bridge, I'm scared for your team. I know you talked a big game, but I don't think you have what it takes to make it through. I will also say this, Main Jeff, I'm really scared because you have David Johnson, right?
Yes.
They changed offensive coordinators in Arizona.
Yes, they did.
And they remembered that David Johnson's really, really good, and they started giving him the ball again, and shit. Gosh darn it. I'm really mad.
Yeah.
Can we also just take a moment? I don't know. I guess I could figure this out real quick. Can we just take a moment to mourn whoever drafted Le'Veon Bell. Oh my God. Here's the best part. It was Jeremy from Under the Bridge. He drafted Le'Veon Bell with the 2nd overall pick. And the best thing is, last year he drafted David Johnson with the 1st overall pick, and then he broke his hand. Hey, Jeremy, I know you're listening. Pace yourself.
All right. Well, if Jeff Solomon, who's in 8th place, somehow is finally done talking mostly about himself in fantasy football, it must be.
I'm reveling in the misery of others right now. It's either called Schadenfreude or Gestalt. I'm not sure.
Time to clean house and lock the doors. So you know what we do here, folks. We wrap the show up. We ask you to give us some help in several different ways. Jeff Solomon, pick your poison. What's your way you'd like to tell the listeners on how to help our show?
Yeah, follow us in all those places. I'm really doing this just to screw over John. Follow us in all the places. So we're on Instagram and we're on Facebook. Just look for We Like Drinking. On Twitter, we are We Like Drinking 1. And do not forget that the most funnest place to interact with us is in our private group on Facebook, The Tavern. Just search up We Like Drinking, The Tavern, or some derivation of those 5 words. You should end up in the right place. And I think you're going to have a great old time. I will also say this. We've been having some fun interactions on Patreon recently. Jeff, maybe you could talk a little bit about how awesome Patreon is.
Maybe I could, unless John wants to, because I'm going to throw it to John next.
Well, I was just going to say, you're listening. Hey, head on over to Apple iTunes, Apple Podcasts, and give us a review. 5 stars is really cool.
Absolutely. And, we talked about the beginning of the show. Jeff just mentioned it. Patreon is our program where you can give us a little bit of the coin. You can go as little as $1 a month. $1 a month gets you access to the after party. After parties are a lot of the fun, the funds, where we carry a show on, like last week, where we barely made it to the end of the show. We had an after party. Typically, we go 20 minutes. Last week, it went 47 minutes, where the plan was we were going to throw a little shout out to all our Patreons. And then we're going to talk about an article in between that was just like a 20-minute rant on juice, turning it into wine in bag.
I don't even remember that.
we talked a lot during it. And we forgot 2 of our Patreons. And one of them we talked to through all of episode 200 and then forgot to mention him in the after party. So we're going to do another after party tonight to see if I can just finish this bottle and go all react on this episode. So yeah.
So this is what it's like to watch.
Yeah. This is kind of what, yeah. So you can get a free t-shirts, stickers. Help us out with the show. Pick what we drink. Pick the drinks that we had tonight. There's a lot of fun stuff that we do for our Patreons, and we would love it if you would help us out there. Like I said, $1 a month gets you in. You can go 1, 3, 5, 10, 7 gets you a t-shirt. All kinds of fun.
Still looking for that $500 a month Patreon.
We're still looking for that one because we don't even have a Patreon level for it, but somebody could do it.
We'll invent one.
We visit welikedrinking.com/pledge listeners to find out more. All right. Well, that was a lot. No.
How am I going to remember this?
How will you remember it all? First, we better play a bumper like this. And then I should give you a movie quote. And that will do it. That's really going to drive everybody to go visit welikedrinking.com/pledge.
It's worked before.
It has not, but we continue to do it. All right, here we go. It's a long one tonight, kind of like the episode. So here we go. Two people talking on this. Here we go.
Are they both going to sound like Charles Bronson?
Possibly. You never know what's going to happen. Half the time it changes halfway through, so we'll see. No, I was an artist, stupid. I was inspiration. A muse has no place in battle. So, after the fallen were banished to hell, God turned on those who wouldn't fight, and Azrael was sent down with the demons, something he considers a grave injustice. Oh, come on. Don't tell me you never questioned the judgment serendipity. No, it never bothered me. So you were an artist. A big deal. Elvis was an artist, but that didn't stop him from joining the service in a time of war. And that's why he's the king and you're a schmuck. All right. I know it was a long one, but there was a reason for it. Multiple reasons for it. John Ruyak.
What's the Ben Affleck thing where Alanis Morissette is God?
Yeah,
what's funny? I was thinking of that exact same movie, and I know the answer, so I'm not going to give it to you if that is what it is.
Okay, is that your guess, John?
It is.
Ben Affleck movie where some. Okay. Jeff Solomon.
Yeah, so that movie is, it's my favorite director.
Reason one, I went with it. No, reason two, I went with it.
So then it's most definitely Dogma.
Yes.
Which, by the way, Clerks is so epically shittier. Like, Dogma's not bad. With the Jesus with the thumbs up, like, that's awesome. So yeah, it's most definitely Dogma. That being said, you mentioned Azrael. It could have been the Smurfs.
No, you both are correct. It was Dogma. Selma Hayek played Serendipity. Yeah. So you see what I did there tonight with the Grape Hopper Pop and with the Wait Who Subscribed. I went with a very Spanish theme.
That was serendipitous of you.
It was, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Excellent. Moving on, you can also find the show notes for this episode with all the links to the stories or mentions we had at welikedrinking.com/episodes. Or if you're on your phone, swipe right. All right. How long are we? Oh, good. Like an hour and 20 minutes. Why not? Because that's how we do. But it's time where I get to say, okay, panel, let's take one last trip around this table and get some final thoughts before we shut off the lights. John Ruyak.
This has nothing to do with what we've talked about on the show tonight, but I really have a love-hate relationship with mulberry trees. There's one in the corner of the yard next to us, and it provides a lot of shade in the summertime and keeps heat off the top of the house, particularly over our master bedroom. Mm-hmm. But mulberry trees lose all of their leaves in one day.
Mm-hmm. All of them.
Yes, every single one in one day. That day was yesterday.
Mm.
So yeah, 1/3 of all the leaves from that tree in somebody else's yard are now in my backyard.
Mm.
Thanks.
You really should have just went with the punch. You didn't explain it. Just went, I hate mulberry trees, and then just left it at that.
That would have been perfect.
Jeff Solomon.
I'm so inspired by this Herederos del Marquez de Rascal that I just gotta sing. Stop the music. Every day it's wonderful. I love Rioja. You smell like Newports, 'cause you are beautiful in every single way. Words can't bring you down. No, yes, no, yeah. You are beautiful in every single way. Words can't bring us down. So don't you bring me down today. And you never have, Rioja. You're amazing. Meow. Bring the music back.
And with that, I'll say thanks again for joining us at the We Like Drinking podcast.
Where you'll never drink alone.
I was speechless. Holy crap.
With the taste of Rioja on a ride. So toxic, I'm slipping under a hit of a pussy paradise. I'm addicted to you. Don't you know you're Rioja? Rioja now with Tempranillo now. I think I'm ready now. I love Rioja now.
There's episodes where there's flow.
This is not one of those.
This could be released in like a 3-chapter, 3-episode chapter that have no correlation to each other whatsoever.
Previously on the We Like Drinking podcast.
Oh,
I don't know. The gold foil's sexy.
well, we have one viewer left somehow.
Hey, one viewer,
they
thank
fell
you.
asleep.
No. All right. Thank you for joining us, viewer, mom. We much appreciate it. What did she say? She said a lot.
It's Annette.
It's-
Oh,
So she said,
I should have done some metal. I'm sorry.
so you should have done some metal. So she wanted to know, Jeff, are you in any danger from the fires? I said no. She said, oh, good. John's going to taste the whole bottle now. When you were tasting yours. When we were talking about the menthol, she said Vicks Vapo Rub.
Yes, there you go.
At one point, she asked if Jeff was telling them how to run their business. And I said, of course. And then he ended it here with, and there is lots of purple bird droppings all over. I don't know what that one is even
That
referenced.
must be from the mulberry trees. Yeah.
So there you go.
Right. Hey, but oh wow, look at the pit stains, dude. So Laird Jeff McKinney, thanks for watching as always.
All right. Good night, y'all.